We'll see what happens, Trish.
And so on. Who are the two representatives from the Heritage Commission? Seeing none? We don't have any. Let's hopefully we're going to send two representatives. It would be very helpful. Come on, we'll cheer up. We're in this together, one big group. Don't be shy about the camera.
I'm a reporter.
All right. While we're waiting for, hopefully Mary Lou will show up, we have one piece of business that we need to take care of, and that has to do with the road contract. So let's do that, and then we'll stall a minute or two. Mr. Nason, town road agent, what have you found?
I heard back from both of these some people who estimated the job, and the price went down on this one to $97 a ton, but it still brings both projects to $40,000. And this one only went down to $101 per ton. So we're at $40,000 and we're at $39,407.
Have you worked with either company?
I've worked with this one before. I've never worked with R&D paving, but they do a tremendous amount. I did some research on them, and they are the nighttime crew. They are the company that started nighttime paving in the state of New Hampshire, and they paved every mile of 93, Route 3, going to the Canadian border. They do primarily do sub work to Pike and Continental and Brox. They do a lot of that paving. They have a very good reputation.
For informational purposes, the one bid from R&D paving is $39,407. For FR Carroll Incorporated is $40,000 even. Is that correct?
Yeah, I didn't, it was 97.05 or something. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said on the end of our conversation, he says it brings the job to $40,000. So I did the math at $97 a ton, and it was right there.
This is enough asphalt for the Moose Mountain discussion we had
Yeah.
and the Bryce Hill.
Starting at the end of the pavement on Bryce Drive now, I'm going down over the hill and paving the intersection at the bottom to Pine and Sanborn.
You go Lakeland on either side?
Yeah, coming down, going straight across, and then swailing a little apron to both left and right.
Okay. And do they have any indication when the work will be done?
Because of the size of the job, they want to try to coordinate it with something they have in the area, because we're only talking a total of 351 tons, and that's not very much for a large paving company.
As far as the budget goes, we have that.
Well, there's 40,000 here, there's 4,000 for surveying that we've authorized already. We said we're going to pull 43 out of the trust fund, so we're short 1,000 plus all the prep work that's going to come out of your road budget.
I guess so, if that's what you say.
Sense?
Any chance to quantify that, or is that your summer part, or did that, we don't know.
Comes out of the bottom line. Comes out of wherever it needs to at this point.
Last meeting, you weren't sure what that number might look like.
That's right, I have not finished that, because I really can't quantify the numbers for Cedar Park until I know what the survey results are.
Okay.
$600 difference.
I will tell you though, this is probably a $600 difference, but they're not doing it, they're letting me do the fine grading. He does not want to do the fine grading for that small amount. This guy said he will do the fine grading.
Oh,
So there's more, it's only $600 or $593 less, but he's doing more.
Doing more for $600 less. Motion.
Can I ask a question before you guys
Sure.
Just for my ratification, how much, what's the pavement surface area for that money?
The volume, not tonnage, but you want to know the square footage?
I don't know how much a ton covers, yeah, what are they saying?
How many inches?
Two and a half compacted probably, right?
It's, yeah, it's a single, it's 3/4 inch single course compacted to 2 inches.
Compacted at two.
Yep.
What's the volume and square footage, you know?
Let me go get
The length of the road, do you have any idea? What road is it? I don't
Can you
even
please
know.
call Mary Lou for us?
I'm just curious to figure out what
Just to see if she's
they're
coming
getting
here.
per foot for paving today, per square
Well,
foot.
Rice Drive is 600 and, with the aprons, it's 645 feet long, 18 feet wide. And then Moose Mountain,
645 by 18.
yeah,
Can you do that quick?
So it's 11,610 feet for Bryce.
And what was the price?
it's $101 per ton.
$101 per ton. How many square feet?
It's 145 ton for that job.
145 tons. That roughly covers 14,000 feet. What's the footage there?
11,600. 11,690.
Okay. Well, then you're putting it real thick.
And then you do the other job too, right?
But they're doing some grading for that too.
I'm just curious as to what the price of asphalt is per foot to pave. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's something that
Let me go get my
should go in the road book and you guys should be aware of before
But
you.
I think his price per ton included some grading work. They didn't quote just for asphalt.
Well, I understand that because the fine grading that they do no matter what, anyway, usually. But I'm just saying, there's so much a square foot for paving today. I know what I'm paying, and I'm curious as what the town's paying. That's where I'm going with it, just gratification. It's simple arithmetic. And I think it's something that the selectmen, it should go in our road book, is my point.
That's fine. She's on her way, so we should be off and running there in a minute.
It's just hair over a foot, $1 a foot.
Okay.
So what it's basically $14,645 for 11,000 some odd feet of pavement.
$1 a foot,
All right, we have a motion.
I'll make a motion that we move forward with the R&D paving proposal to do, and that includes Moose Mountain and Bryce and the rep work to come out of the road department budget.
Okay. Second. Second. All those in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? Yes, no. Do we need to sign it?
Not yet. I'm
Okay.
sure they'll send something more formal.
Ready?
Okay?
Did you get anything from the surveyor yet?
No, I did send him that, and he says he did not get it, so we have to dig up another letter. I'm gonna hand deliver it instead of. So I will, if Jessica, if you can dig that up tonight, put it on my desk, I'll grab it in the morning and I'll run it back to him in the morning.
And another issue, in fairness to the cake bean sale and his removal of signs
Oh,
on the corner of Maple Syrup.
Yes.
We personally, at our corner, my wife especially, has an issue with the blueberry guy. Not that he has a sign. He should please spell it right.
really?
It's been there for years, but she's he's got to spell it right, and I'd like to see, like we told everybody else, a sign similar to, we're going to go down there and talk, similar to the real estate signs. In case the rumor gets flying, we're not against him putting a sign up.
Sure.
We wish he had asked, we should have said, out of courtessy, we're going to put it in front of the one, we never have.
Yeah.
And we're going to request that the sign be spelled correctly and be similar in size to a real estate. And that's what we're told everyone.
And as it may be, a gentleman came to remove his sign and dropped off an intent to cut for, in that job, in that development. But he was nice about it.
Okay. Good. Very good.
Right.
All right, want to sit up at the table, your representatives, you and whoever you have brought with you.
Harriet and
Harriet, come on up. We're going to pull up a chair. Instead of a round table, we're having a square table, rectangular table.
let me just.
And leave room for the camera so you don't have your back totally toward them.
Well, I
We can move over more. We have a fan in Iceland who watches us, so. Hands up. The purpose of this meeting, obviously, is to finalize a proposal to go out to the residents of Brookfield for them to survey, and that's what we're looking for, a survey. I would like all of us, if we could, let's throw out there what the givens are. I'll throw one out to start with. We have to go with it, what we do with the schoolhouse first. Everything is a domino based on that. Do you have any givens that you see as personally? And remember, this will get out before we send the letter because it's going to take a second.
The only given that I see is the temporary restroom. We could live with a temporary restroom, but it's pretty temporary.
Okay?
Where it is right now.
The given is the structural integrity of the building, that's the first given.
The schoolhouse or the
Schoolhouse.
the schoolhouse? Very good.
I would probably agree with both of those, that yes, we need a restroom, definitely, where it is, and the foundation, the foundation work and the floor need to be first priority.
Karen?
Excuse me. Yes, I agree. The Heritage Commission has recommended that that be the first, those be the first things we do. I was reading your letter here, and you talk about the bathroom. I haven't, that's obviously high on the list. I haven't seen what you're using over there now.
Okay.
But that's
We
obviously-
knew what we had, we just make it a little more imaginative. It's 2x4s we need together. It's very cheap, thanks to some good volunteers. Gary?
Okay, we're talking about the whole thing here.
Overall, no, not even reading that. What do you see as a given that needs to be done? Do you have any issue that?
Well, we have a temporary bathroom, correct?
Correct.
That's the only thing that's really needed that I know at the moment. The rest of it's based on what the people think.
Well, I was, we know that.
Yeah, I know you know that, but I mean, I don't want to say what my druthers would be because unless we approach it logically, I don't see option A.
No, don't even say it. What do you see as a need? Let's not go over that. What do you see as something that I said we need to address the schoolhouse very first, because everything. Do you see anything that's an issue for you?
The schoolhouse needs to be addressed one way or the other, yeah, because something's got to be done for a bathroom and the structure of the building if we're going to use it. If not, we're going to shut it down. And that's obviously what we're doing here.
Right?
I agree, it's the schoolhouse is the key that we get to turn one or the other. Something has to happen there, or nothing has to happen, and we sit put, which isn't much of an option.
Okay. And the other thing moving it is the heat, which people can say we don't have to address. But I'm speaking for myself, I think we need to address. We're going to go out for bids for fuel. You said roughly $4,000? 3,000? You heat that last year, it's 1,000 gallons. So we spend 1,000 gallons heating a building that we don't use very rarely. And there's contrary data whether we need to heat it a little bit or none. We've heard of buildings that are not heated and do fine, including that building at one time we learned last night. And then you have other people saying the plaster and everything else, they need some heat for the moisture. We've got to resolve
You're talking about the whole building?
the whole building, the townhouse part. And that's an issue we have to resolve because a lot of this becomes dependent on knowing that. Are we going to turn the heat down? That's one of the options. Just turn it off, drain the pipes, and leave it. That was
A suggestion.
a suggestion that was thrown out there. So we've got these things that's thrown out there, and everybody's open, right for their opinion. Any more thoughts, anybody?
Yeah, I don't think you should let it freeze. For two reasons, condensation and ice crystals. And that is destructive to plaster. Whether it's been done in the past and how much it destroyed the plaster, who knows? But what happens when you do shut a building's heat off completely is you have a warm day with moisture and it gets into the building. And then you have a very cold night and all that moisture forms as very small microscopic droplets within plaster, within insulation. And when it freezes, it expands and does a certain amount of damage. Now, there's no saying what the damage is going to be. But you're talking of horsehair plaster. I don't think it's wise to shut it off and leave it off. Maybe it's been done in the past, and maybe that's part of the reason we have problems. I don't have any idea.
Two comments we've heard. One is it was just started to be, we just started heating it about 20 years ago. Up to that point, it was never heated.
Never did.
That's one comment we've heard. The other comment we've heard is the Cotton Valley Church, and I don't know what the walls are in there, I'll give you that,
Horsehair plastic.
has been unheated for 200 years. So what we say we're going to turn it off, or we have to heat it, here's some of the feedback we get.
I'm not going to argue with
I don't
anybody,
know
because
either.
one never knows what's going to happen.
I-
That's the general consensus with plaster. It's not good to shut the heat off. But I haven't done any personal tests, so.
The reason that we're going at this, if we're going to heat it, I personally, speaking for myself only, think we need to address the heating system. At this point, we know it's old. It could go on for a year or two, we don't know, but we know it's old, and we have the potential of getting a cheaper heat source. At this point, it would be LP gas, that we could get less expensive. So that's the reason I throw that. The payback for it would be pretty quick, depending on what the issues are. And there's advantages to not doing it all. Because if we don't need to heat it, then the only time we'll run into troubles at the last minute. I don't know what the repairs we put on cleaning the oil burner and all that stuff. I know that that's come and restarted and all crazy things over the years.
Yes, we have. I don't have it with me, but I could provide it at the next selectmen's meeting.
We're a little concerned too, it's getting old. So,
Well, yeah.
At one of these points, we're going to get the call that
It's
Right.
good.
Right. I understand that.
Anybody else?
If we heat it, the bathroom will be, there'll be water in the pipes, correct, and it's going to be kept, or we're going to drain it and just heat it.
Good question.
Because if the heater does go and the pipes have water.
We do have an alarm that notifies us it did not work, if somebody turned off the switch, and the alarm company fails to call us and say it's been off for 3 days. But we do pay for the alarm system that will dial each of the selectmen to get an answer to alert us that there's a low temperature alert. And we still get those calls. Mr. Brown, did you ever get them when you were on?
Oh, yeah, it's usually Sunday night about 11 o'clock.
Okay. Sometimes they're legit and sometimes they're not.
we're getting a lot of feedback. Someone recommended that we blow the pipes out, run dry for the winter, because we use it in December, and then we use it in March, and we might have to use it for an emergency situation, in which case you heat it, bring the water up slowly. I'm not an expert in this, so I'm just telling you things I hear, right? And there's a lot of people giving us input.
The reason I'm bringing this up is when we have the little meeting for everybody to get their input, there are people going to ask these types of questions. So at least if we're on similar pages, we may disagree when we get to the meeting, at least we can better understand where people are coming from. And I'd rather not have a lot of fight over something that we don't have to. Like we have to do something with the bathroom. Where we put it, we can work our way down there. I just want us to get into a battle. It doesn't look like we're working together, but I think we are. We have some different opinions, we have different movements, but I think we're working together. I'm pleased. All right.
Are you incorporating the heating of the schoolhouse into this Discussion, okay.
No,
Not the whole school,
Not at
the
this
main
time.
building, okay. So it's just something that's going on the front burner, but after the schoolhouse is dealt with decision-wise.
Correct, and whether that's heated or not. The thing is, if it's not used, the door will be closed. If the heat's moved and everything goes up front, the door will be closed, the schoolhouse will be left alone. At some point, it may address some kind of heat, whether it's propane or whatever.
Well, it's no stair heat back there, so there's no heat freeze up to worry about.
Okay. I want to read your options here. Who wants to do option A? We'll start with A.
Could we,
Read the opinion, options, excuse me. Yep,
could we go back to the letter?
sure.
The first sentence doesn't make sense.
Yep.
As residents of Brookfield, we should be proud of our rich heritage and look,
Our rich history.
our rich history, doesn't change the fact, but
Oh, yeah.
in a,
Thank
look
you.
to the future, or in
And look.
looking
And look,
to the future,
and look.
one or the other.
Yep, that's great.
Discuss something.
Thank you.
And then the only other thing, period and rows, is makeshift one word or hyphenated.
Is townhouse one word or two?
I don't know.
When I put it in spell check, it didn't highlight this one.
It didn't get excited.
How about schoolhouse, folks? What do you think? It's one word or
No,
two words?
schoolhouse is
Schoolhouse is fine.
One or two?
It's one word.
one word.
And same with townhouse?
Townhouse is 2 words.
Okay.
It's not 2 words, it's either like this or hyphenated.
No, townhouse is 2
Oh.
words.
I was still looking at makeshift, sorry.
Okay, sorry, but
As residents of Brookfield, we should be proud of our rich history and look to the future of our small town. Brookfield's original townhouse was built in 1823 and is now listed on the National Historic Registry. The Churchill Schoolhouse was built in 1801. Right, can we say it word it wrong?
yeah, it's National Registry of Historic Places.
National Registry.
National Registry of Historic Places.
Good. The Churchill Schoolhouse was built in 1801 and moved to the current location in 1967. It remains one of the oldest remaining schoolhouses in the area. Everybody set with that
Are
one?
you sure you want the first sentence right? As residents of Brookfield, we should be proud of our rich history and look to the future of our small town. Is that correct grammar?
Well, it's better than it was.
All right, come up with something.
Be proud of our rich history and we should look to the future of our small town or something? Something's missing.
And we should consider the future of our small town.
Purpose is trying to get people to just not look today, look ahead, what we're going to leave as our legacy.
Right.
I think if you just take out in, you're okay.
In your okay, yeah, I agree.
Anything else with the first paragraph? Okay. As with all older buildings, there is the need for maintenance and upkeep, given the recent water damage, frozen water pipes, sustained at the townhouse and schoolhouse this past winter. We are faced with decisions on how best to rectify the situation.
I take out recent because you gave us specific time this past winter, so you don't need recent. It's getting further away as well.
Everybody happy with that one? Non-controversial so far? Good. While the selectmen have been given the authority to expend dedicated funds for the purpose of maintaining these buildings, we are seeking your advice before proceeding with any remedies. We're going with the word advice because it's not a vote. Any issues? Okay. We need to address the outdated heating system and the water damage to the restrooms that resulted in one temporary bathroom. One makeshift bathroom. Due to the fact they are both located in the schoolhouse, which serves as the building's handicap entrance, as well as part of our emergency shelter. We must decide what we are going to do with the schoolhouse first. We have worked closely with the Planning Board and Heritage Commission in developing a list of scenarios that we feel shows a range of options to be considered and the approximate cost of each option. Hope you don't mind offended by using the word approximate, but we didn't want to get locked in there, so we use the word approximate. Any issues with that? Are we covering what we need to say?
It's grammatically sound.
Are we saying what we need to say?
I think so. I mean, you're asking for people's
Yeah.
opinion, advice,
Right.
as opposed to just doing what you want to do.
Okay. This one, did you get to see my revised paragraph?
When did you send it? I saw one at 427, I was
I'm
walking
sorry
out the
about
door.
that. I changed this one a little bit. We're on to, want to propose this for informational purposes. For informational purposes, we have anticipated an approximately, which we may know when, we have anticipated approximately $18,000 of insurance settlement, that doesn't sound right, $13,000 remaining in this year's budget earmarked for maintenance issues, and $36,000 in our dedicated maintenance trust fund. This gives us an ability to spend $67,000. We find it prudent to leave $20,000 in the dedicated trust fund for unanticipated repair expenses in the future. This would allow us to spend up to $47,000 without additional tax funds being raised.
Are you getting from something different?
Yes, I
than
am, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I made an adjustment how we use the numbers.
I like this language, no impact on the town's tax rate, better than whatever it was.
Okay,
you
good.
just said.
That's what we want to do. Now we're going to this one. For informational purpose, we have approximately $18,000 in insurance monies related to the water damage claim. An additional $48,000 in our dedicated maintenance account. Now, I question that figure. I think that should be 36.
Okay, so that's, all right, because I broke it up thereafter. We have an additional $48,000 in the rest of $30,000 this year's budget and $36,000 to our dedicated fund.
But I think you need to say what the
Do you not-
dedicated.
I don't have
You
that.
need to say where it's coming from,
Can
which
you build
one.
one of those updated letters? I think it's got it.
No.
The 36,000, we gotta get the right words, but it's one of our trust funds.
Yeah, Ernie, are we okay in using those terminologies?
That's
The only,
within the revisions that you made
All
there.
right.
The only question, and just listening to your discussion on that particular point, is you have $18,000 in insurance money. Was that to repair the bathroom?
That was to deal with the incident. And that included floors possibly cupping, frozen pipes going to the,
Yeah, my point is in your options, you haven't included anything on the bathrooms, and yet you're talking about using the insurance money for repairing the room and not the bathroom.
Well, you'll see as we go through the options, we have to do something with the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
The heating system's an issue, so we figured that 18,000 is spent.
Okay.
Any problems with folks, we're leaving the 20,000 so people
That's
understand we haven't spent everything. Okay? With that said, the selectmen feel that it would be prudent to leave $20,000 cash reserve in this fund for unanticipated maintenance expenses. Spending up to $47,000 would have no additional impact on the town's tax rate.
I'd get rid of with that said. With that
Oh, with
said,
that, those
I'd get rid of that
Yeah.
completely.
Okay, good. Thank you. You got that on your list?
You know, you're not utilities.
The selectmen feel that we
And I'm not sure you need additional. Spending up to $47,000 would have no impact on the town's tax rate.
Good.
Whatever impact it was going to have, it already had when we raised the money.
Great, okay, good. No, that's good.
But I think it's, the other part you put in about the town buildings maintenance fund, whatever the legal name of the fund is, that really needs to be in there.
Okay.
so what is the last sentence, Alan? That when you just,
Spending up to $47,000 would have
No impact on the town's tax rate.
no impact.
boy, I get concerned when we're that. I'd like to hedge it a little if we could. Are we really sure
But what?
that spending 47,000 would have no impact on the tax rate?
Don't you already own the money and have it dedicated? It's already been collected.
It's in your trust account for your expenditure.
We're assuming we get the 18, so we read 18,
Yeah.
we've got 36, and we know we have 13,000 left in this year's budget to do maintenance type work.
Is your point that if we don't spend the money, we actually have a lower tax rate next year? Is that what
Yes.
you're going with that?
That's exactly right, because that money rolls over from the operating budget. The operating portion rolls over, I believe. The trust fund is fixed, but if we don't spend the operating portion, that rolls over.
And then we may have to address that expense next year, when the people have accepted the budget this year with that number. So if we go into next year, it opens another, well, right now we've got to raise an extra 13,000.
And sometimes you use that leftover money to buy down the tax rate.
That's exactly the point. So it does impact the tax rate. That's exactly.
We're gonna,
You know, what you just right. Spending up to $47,000 would not have a negative impact on the town's tax rate.
Fine.
How it would not raise the town's
All right.
tax rate, because that's what it doesn't do. It does not raise. If you want to explain the buyback
No.
next year, I think
No.
you're going way too far.
No,
Yeah.
no, no.
But this doesn't raise it.
That's right.
okay, everybody happy with that?
The $18,000 is
So
assumed.
what have we got? Would
We'll know that when we have to check in.
would not raise the town's tax rate, is that what we're saying?
Yes. That's the number we got on the phone. We didn't get the check yet.
So is this going to go out with the 18?
Oh, no.
Okay, I'm just going to say.
No, this isn't going out.
Okay.
Okay?
There's one more change. You know how we strike, with that said, we took that out?
Yeah.
The selectmen feel, is it prudent? It is prudent.
It is,
We
yeah.
Switch that
Right.
around.
Okay.
Yep, excellent.
Okay. Anybody see anything else that needs to be put in there before we go to, this should be able, we're hoping this will cover anything we come up with, even if we have to add something to A, B, C, D. Anybody see anything else that needs to be adjusted, except for the last paragraph? Okay? We've attached one survey with each letter, request that only one survey per household be completed and returned. The surveys can be mailed to the town office, dropped off at the town offices, or brought to one of the two informational meetings to be held on these dates before, 8/20 and 8/24. All the dates.
I have a question. Are they meetings or public hearings?
Informational sessions.
That's all it is.
Because we don't want to start playing ads, because we're sending them letters.
Don't we change the word meetings to sessions?
All right, I'm.
No, thank you, that's very good.
Not hearing, not hearing. That's what.
Okay, so informational meetings is okay, all right, I just want to make sure I'm not missing changes, all right? So leave meetings as is.
Why aren't the meetings so late in August?
We run into problems with different vacations, and we're trying to push it earlier, different people's schedule. From our perspective, this is the best we can do unless we had it right off the bat.
Do we have to do that foundation work before the frost gets into the ground?
That's a very question.
Well,
Just
The
short,
foundation
short,
work-
sure, short.
it isn't that expensive. But you don't want to be down in there in January, that's for
Well,
sure.
no, but
No, you don't.
I'm just seeing, you know, because, okay, so we have those two meetings, then there's another meeting to take into account what the townspeople said at those two meetings. Then the letter goes out, and you give them 2 weeks to
The
get
letter
back.
goes out, no, the letter's already gone
All
out.
right, letter's already gone out. Then you go to bid, which is a time-consuming process, and then you start. We're practically in October,
Well,
I'm just telling you.
I'm just saying, that's not too bad.
everything depends on what the people in the survey
Yeah,
pick
we could,
and what the town decides to do, because some of the work based on whatever option is chosen, is extensive, and some of it isn't. Some takes longer than others, and it's just a matter of whatever it is, I mean.
What do you see as dates? And if you pick any of those other weeks, one of us will be here, that's maybe good. Depends on who you don't want. So you want to propose a date and see if we can work around that? We're not going to discuss our plans for vacations for obvious reasons.
No, that's fine, and actually for a week and a half in August, I'm not here either, but I'm just worried about stretching it out even more.
Well, this was one of the things that we were going to hold up the mailing the letter, so there wouldn't be a long lag time between when they received it and when they returned. We discussed having maybe 10 days or 2 weeks at the most.
2 weeks at the most. yeah.
So by sending it out this early and getting it in August, people forget about it and never get it. So we were talking about holding the letter and say to bargain until the 1st of August or first week in August or the end of the first week, so that we wouldn't have a big one. We would not send it immediately out and get everything ready. We put it in the mail.
Okay, so the 24th is a Saturday, and do you guys meet the following Tuesday?
You can.
Okay, I'm assuming you want to meet in order to go over what the townspeople have said at these 2 meetings before you send the project out.
Yeah, we'd have a recap meeting after that.
Yeah,
We have
exactly.
a meeting on the 27th, so.
Because if you could get it out to bid before the 1st of September, would be nice.
You see, it's difficult to do because I think we're gonna need a couple of spec sheets. Right now, we've got a bill of material, but we don't have how to use the material to do something. So once we decide what we want to do, we're going to need a spec sheet or two that we can bid on.
Right.
Eric?
I can throw spec sheets together, it's not hard, I just didn't want to do it for all the options, that's way too much.
Oh, no,
work.
of course not.
But it's, there's going to probably be a few drawings that I have to do, especially if they pick the number C, just because those trusses have to be fabricated a certain way to be kosher. But anyway,
At the time frame, folks, when we
I don't think that anything that I have to do for specification has much to do with this part. The survey can go out and come back in, and I can work that specification stuff together. Because you're obviously not going out to bid until after the people have spoken and made up your mind.
Jason, how long would it take you to, assuming we had the numbers, we felt comfortable with the 18, and that wasn't changed, how long would it take you to be ready to go with something out the door?
Printing all the letters, printing everything. I was gonna work on it right away. So I was thinking Thursday, Friday of this week, I could have at least started to get it all, it might be done by Friday, because they have Friday hours too.
So that would be,
We may not have the number by Friday. They said the check would be received, the 18,000 number. They said that we could do everything but put that number in. They said we would have the check this week. So at that point, we put that.
I can always get the envelopes. I want to get everything.
Yeah, the envelopes would be
I can
probably
always
the
do the
biggest thing.
envelopes. That's gonna be the biggest
This is the
thing.
biggest thing, and then after that, get the letters printed, that's nothing more than the press.
So have we decided who they're going to?
Households.
somebody that owns a house, owns a piece of property with a house. Taking it right from the tax records, anybody that owns a house, it goes to them. You have an issue with that? Because we thought of all other options, and it's very complicated. We are data, and the lawyers said we have that option to go. Obviously, if we went into something in March, it's strictly the lawyers. But this gives all the taxpayers the same. And maybe we want it, maybe we don't. At least they can't probably give them input. Anybody have an issue with that?
Say it again.
You have an issue with it going to one, per like in your situation, one to your house, and you guys can argue it out. Who's ever there, how are you going to fill it out?
No. Odds are even.
However you do it.
We are concerned, not concerned, 'cause I don't think there'll be many people doing it. Duplicate, somebody handing in two and throwing it out. We're thinking of requiring a signature. Do you think having a signature will create a problem for people filling out or not? Because I thought of an alternative.
Yes.
And how do you verify signature.
I was just gonna say, what good are those things to do?
Well, I was thinking coming here, I have a whole bunch of little stamp things. If we put that on the envelope, we send a return address envelope with a specific stamp on it,
And then we know.
then we know we're only getting one back from each. I gotta have the official envelope.
Can I ask you a question?
That would have to put it in.
Is there any way, we're gonna be able, 300 of them?
There.
Can you paginate them 1 through 300?
That I was gonna suggest.
If you do that, you got 302 twice, one of them goes in the trash.
Right.
Do we have a stamp that counts out, we don't know on this? Everything you slam it doesn't count.
I mean, paginating at least will keep it down to a dull roar. And this isn't Detroit politics, I mean, small towns. Just paginating, the computer does that, it's not a big effort. If you're putting out 300 of them, it's 1 through 300, you're not gonna, if you get 450, somebody's duplicated. But it'll be from 300 to 450.
And if we get two 250s, we don't know which one's legit.
Throw the two of them away then. That's all you can do. If somebody wants to play that game in their household, then they don't deserve a vote.
You can put that on the label. It's easy to just add a number on
The return
it. On the
address.
return label.
And to me, it'd be easy just to number these, because when people hand these and they don't return via mail, or let's say someone doesn't use a return label, just.
You could do both,
I was
it's
gonna
just a
say-
label, put it on the label and put it on your website.
Right,
It's easy.
No, you don't have any concerns with people thinking we're cross-referencing names to numbers? Is there any
The
privacy?
people are that saying that, good God, let's just throw in the towel. We're just trying to make a survey.
We're worried about them double voting.
I think that's even ridiculous, but.
So do I don't think you're gonna, you might get a couple of them, but I don't, if it's 5149, in other words, there's 200 of one and 201 of another, then we gotta scratch our heads.
That's why I think this is fine. If Rich Zach sends this thing, and, all right, if we get a name that doesn't sound familiar, we can say, who is
Oh,
this?
so you do want
Some
a name?
people aren't even.
I think we have it here.
In other words, if it's blank, you're throwing it away.
I wouldn't even,
Where are they supposed to sign?
No, I'm not saying that, I'm saying just write your name.
No, but this does say, please sign.
It's a family name.
But that's not a signature, a family name is
All right,
not.
then we just say, please complete and return.
Yeah, I would take the name off it too, if you have a number on it. You already have the name on the label. Micro print the number on the label, micro print the number on here, so nobody even knows except us that there's a number on it.
I
Kind of
think,
like the federal government.
I think 1 to N is good, right? Just print them numbers 1 to N if we get, right?
Yeah, I don't just don't think there's that many nefarious.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
That's easy to do, 1 to N. If we get an issue,
Okay, everybody satisfied for this one? All right, let's go over our options. You're the one. Hey, yes.
I have one more thing.
Sure.
To run by the other board members who were talking about not putting a return stamp.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, I wanted to see what they thought about
a
that.
lot,
What?
a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. We thought a lot of people might drop it off or
Couple $100
with
would
any
work out
hopes,
too.
because it's gonna be too expensive to mail all these out and then do a return.
Is that what it works out to? About
Yeah.
200 or something like that?
Is it that?
I don't know. How many-
How many-
If
Is that
there's
what you want?
300, it would be $150,
Okay.
because it's almost 50 cents a stamp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't we get that
So that
discount
would
rate?
be 3.
No, they have that
For
discount.
bulk
Too much
mail.
paperwork.
We don't have a bulk permit, you have to
All
pay
right,
to have a bulk permit.
Sorry, I broke.
once we have the number on it, whether they drop it, or mail it, or whatever,
Yeah.
we're okay.
Well, I was
Okay.
just wondering.
And the things will not be opened in advance.
Right.
They're going to be kept. We'll put them in something so that nobody goes right through them, anybody, anywhere, just put out there in the mailbox or anything else, just be
Yeah,
sealed envelope.
The vault.
Yep.
Now, in the event we don't get one back, I would like to do some outreach, so people that may have accidentally let it fall behind their couch, that we could contact that person and just.
We will know where they
do
are.
that, because we have
Because
some-
then we will be tracking who's responding and all
Don't we
that.
know our neighbors? We can't just go to our neighbor's house and say, did you fill it out?
Well, you can without Sure, you just automatically, hey, you can fill it out, please get a return. You can call everybody you want in the town. But you won't know who's returned and who's not, that's returned. We want to encourage everybody to return it.
You know, I don't look at it that way. I understand where you're coming from, the people, their lives full, but you send this to them, and everybody running the town is making a max effort to involve the people in their own government, their own lives, and their own money. If they haven't got the ambition to make the effort, too bad.
Mary Lou, what was our percentage return on the one we did a year and a half ago? Do you remember?
In front of the townhouse.
Mhm.
What, you get 50
I
back?
don't remember, no, we had more than, I don't remember.
Because I know it wasn't just, I mean, yeah, you did a lot that day, but there were other ways to get a hold of that survey and send it back. And I just wondered what kind of a percentage we have. Because you're not going to get, I mean, I'll be surprised if out of 300 you send out, you get 150.
Yeah, I think that would be a good number.
That would be
Yeah.
lovely, yeah, but it's not going to happen.
Sorry.
All right,
All right,
we're moving on. Churchill Schoolhouse Survey. Now, it says the schoolhouse. Is that? Okay. Please provide your input for selecting your top 2 choices from the list. Please note 1 for your first choice and 2nd for your second choice. Do I have a problem with that?
Nope.
Okay. Option
That's the easy part.
Option A.
Option A, move the heating system and restroom to the front of the townhouse using the old town clerk's office and address the structural issues associated with the floor in the schoolhouse. The final result would be no significant change to the schoolhouse and all utilities upgraded and moved to an insulated portion of the townhouse.
Does the structural issues associated with the floor, does that include the foundation, straightening the foundation?
Good question.
Does it include excavation?
We don't have your numbers with you.
We included fixing the floor joists in that 34,000.
Well, you're not going to just fix the floor joist without ripping out the ductwork and excavating some of that dirt. Because
All right, well, we understand that, but
well, you picked a number.
Well, I thought we took it from your paperwork.
Well, yeah, but you may have to pick the required.
The strategy, what we're trying to implement here was provide a new heating system and a new bathroom. Start the work on the schoolhouse without making any major financial commitments at this point.
For option.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you offer an option that's not viable, and everybody votes for it, you got a problem. The whole
Right,
thing
well, it's
is
got to be
wasted.
viable, right, we've got to address.
Well, you don't know,
the
number,
bit of that.
number A may not be viable. You have no idea what it is now, you picked it out of thin air.
No, we didn't think we picked it out of thin air. We want to look at your numbers and give us an idea what it would be.
Well, you picked it out of thin air because we should all walk over there, open that door up and make sure that you can put all of this stuff that you're talking about in that little tiny space.
We'll do
You're not
that.
gonna be able to.
Assume for a minute we can. We'll do that. We'll not send it out without doing that.
Okay.
How about the excavation? If you feel comfortable with the figure,
Yeah, you're gonna get enough dirt out of there for that to fix the problem, certainly.
Let me say it again. The strategy behind this one was move some equipment, the bathroom and heat to the front,
Yeah,
fix the floor joists,
yeah.
and do other work as money becomes available on the schoolhouse. So we can start to use it because we fixed the immediate issue and we moved our facilities to the front. So we're not making any drastic decisions with respect to the schoolhouse. We can do the foundation later, we can do trusses later, we can do all that later.
Well, that's what I'm not sure about structurally, if there's any point in fixing the floor if you don't fix the foundation.
You gotta fix the foundation to get the floor right. All right?
And the restroom, doesn't the
I'm adding
restroom,
those numbers up right now.
doesn't the restroom have to be handicapped? They're not gonna have
It will
to
not.
change it, and it's allowed.
Yes.
this will be an existing facility for the bathrooms. Because we're going to start ripping out the walls and cutting into your, unless you're willing to have all that done, and we have the radius and everything else. You want the doorways cut out and everything else?
See, what we heard, the issue is the shower, you gotta be able to, no steps, you gotta be able to roll into it. You have to slide under the sink. You have to have sufficient space to turn a wheelchair around. And all of a sudden, if we go, whatever that's called, compliant, handicap compliant, we need a lot more space.
I'm not sure that you can put a bathroom in a new place, in a building, without making it
Without
ADA
making it.
compliant.
If it goes in the back, that's a different issue. It's moved up to the front. That's the issue. We're moving it to the front now. If we move it to the back, if we add an addition or do something, then we can do the whole enchilada.
I'm not saying what we could and couldn't, I'm saying what you're legally required. And I don't think you can put a bathroom in the front of that townhouse
Well, how do we resolve that?
without making it an ADA bathroom.
How do we resolve that, Harry? Because someone gave us just the opposite at another one of these meetings. So we've got two opinions again. How do we drive that to closure?
Who gave you that?
Well, I can tell you exactly what you can do if you want, if we walk over there.
All right, let's walk over there.
I mean, it's really simple. As far as the law goes, is he in there? Or did he go
I
home?
just went over the law.
Eddie should know the law, and it changes from year to year here, and the old cable laws say, yes, you can move a bathroom.
But we went over that with Ed, and he understood our suggestion of putting a sheetrock wall between the heating and the bathroom, and it was acceptable to him. Our last public meeting.
Yeah, but some things aren't acceptable, like you can't put the heating system here,
All right,
and
well, we'll
the
grab-
bathroom behind it, that you have to walk through the heating system, that's absolutely
All
not
right, Gary,
legal.
we'll take care, let's
So-
work on that first. Let's go over and look.
Okay, I mean, there's some things that can't. I can guarantee you're not gonna be able to walk through a utility room to be able to use the
All right,
bathroom.
okay, let's see what we got. That may be the case.
Yes, I will, that's what I thought. Didn't you want me to?
No, we don't have to do it now. We can do it later.
Meeting, okay. Oh, I have the keys.
Do you have it on you? Oh, I should have it here.
I know what it looks like.
I just can't remember.
How's the floor? Excuse me. Is the floor cupping at all?
What's it about? That door is funky.
There's not room
It's
for
right there, Gary, at your left hand.
Look, give me, look at this. Here's, I'm sorry, look here. You can get appreciate the volume here.
There's Mike.
Look at the volume.
What's that smell?
It's called must.
No, it's not really. I mean, the place is a disaster right now.
Actually, you got enough room in here for an HCA handicap bathroom.
You do, you don't.
You do. I just haven't been in there, and I'm really maniacal about making sure something will work before you know. Now, what you'd have to do, if you're gonna make the heating system here, is this would have to be closed off in a special door, which means,
Is this wide enough?
No,
I didn't think
you've already
so.
put money into it to widen this door.
Okay.
And that one down.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, they did do that.
Mario, make sure we ask about venting issues before we,
Make sure we ask about,
venting issues. So it
Venting
doesn't have to go
issues.
out the front of the building, that type of thing.
yes.
here are the only issues I see. If you're gonna change the heating system for this place, you have to make a heating system. Does it fit?
Does it fit in there?
Bathroom fits in there, but you have to have a very small propane fired heating system.
To go on the outside.
No, to go in here, in this space. You have to go wall here and door.
Can you put,
Come on up here.
look at this line. This line here? Yeah. Can you put a bathroom in that space?
In what space?
That space?
In the front?
Yes. With a door, fire door, with a bathroom, with a heating system in the
I
back?
don't think you can really tear this particular out.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you put a firewall here with steel doors with the curtains as well.
I still need to
That-
find
that
out
you
about
could-
it. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Say it aloud for the tape.
No, that's fine.
Then you can do it.
Because we don't want somebody coming in afterwards and saying, hey,
You
we
put,
did it wrong.
you put a firewall with a steel door.
You would have to rip that partition out, which is an added partition anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you look at the space right here, you got a good volume.
What are you gonna do with the safe?
And melt
You
it down
just-
and make trinkets.
So you,
We'll move it to our office.
if you don't make it a handicap bathroom, you have to do anything to the door.
Yeah, you gotta make it a little bigger, I think, but
Not if it's not being a
I
handicap.
understand. We just looked at the volume. We said, that's a big space.
Now, one of the issues we do face is storage. If we were to take out the schoolhouse, we'd have no place to store things.
I'm sorry, say that again, Bill?
If we were to eliminate the schoolhouse, make this a bathroom, the one thing we then lose is storage space, which we have to address because we have the emergency shelter things. It would be nice to get the chairs away from the walls, the wainscoting, that type of stuff, and these tables that thing everyone else.
You also have
Can I
the,
ask a question?
Sure.
These pipes in here, how are they kept from freezing? Does anyone know that?
Yeah, we heat the whole room.
No, but they must go underneath somewhere.
Look right there.
Oh, they're tacked to the wall.
Yeah, and that's where they froze and popped.
Oh, well, yeah, that's why, okay. Well,
Oh, sorry, yeah.
that's what you're gonna have to do over here.
We'll go under, we'll do something.
Well, you're not going under.
Well, we'll do something.
You're gonna have to go in the room to go over here because under is a freezing problem. You're never gonna heat underneath here. I mean, just keep it know what everything is before you.
No, this is why we're having this.
So you're gonna have to get pipes from the water feed over to this side of the building without going underneath. Can't be done under there. They'll freeze, you can heat tape them, but if the power goes out and the generator doesn't kick on, they freeze. And, it's always a crapshoot with that.
so I have a question for you. You were measuring the width of
It
this.
has to be 36 inches, it's 31.
So we've gotta go
Either way, it wouldn't matter, yeah.
one way or the other, or half of each.
You can reuse this stuff. You gotta find a piece that's 6 inches longer for the head. To make it look like nothing was done here.
Right.
And that's that's just a mechanical thing, carpentry. It could be done, but this has to be gotten somewhere.
And the interior door, is that what?
No.
It's the
But
same.
that thing would come down, the whole partition, it's added anyway, it's not old.
All right, so we go back, everybody see what they saw our beautiful bathrooms?
But you understand that pipes are gonna come up that wall somehow.
Well, why would they come up here if we move everything to heating system up here? For the water you're talking about?
Certainly, the water supplies, where does the water come into the building?
Back left,
Huh?
back left. We understand the water has to get here.
Yeah, the same way it is over there, attached to the wall.
Well, it has to get here, we don't know how we're going to do it. Gotta
It'll
get-
be that way, it won't be underneath. Or you'll frozen pipes, sooner or later.
Okay, that's a big issue. Good, thank you, Gary, we appreciate your input.
No,
That's what you're here for. That's the point.
Factor into
We're gonna look
this.
at,
You want to look at the bathroom?
Huh?
Go look at the bathroom.
What's been done?
well, here it is. Right. You should look at that. So do you know, Gary, if you were to take out that wall, would you not have about the same amount of room with that and that maybe possibly built out to here? You know what I mean?
No, rephrase that, so I
Okay, so if you were to take this bathroom, take down the partition between, take down that wall,
Yeah.
would you then have enough room with this and the room on the other side? Possibly building this out to here.
To make a handicap bathroom, sure.
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
yes, you would. The only thing I'm saying, if you're gonna make option A, B, C, or D, make sure you love all four of them.
I don't love it.
Well, I know you don't, and my point is, before you hand it out for a choice, make sure it's the best choice that we can make.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's all nice and good to throw, listen, there was a guy that said, had the same opinion about moving everything up front, about tearing up all the asphalt on all the roads in Brookfield, because it would be better to have dirt roads. Well, he lives 380 yards back from the dust, and most of us live 100 feet or 50 feet from the dust. It's a nice idea, but, you know, the point is, I don't love that idea, because I don't think it does good for this building, to move everything up to the front. And I believe that, not because, for the same reasons you do. But I think you gotta.
Isn't it amazing we can agree?
Yeah, no, we can agree all the time. Whatever the reason.
There's your bathroom.
I see that.
You're gonna run a bunch of pipes.
I can
up
see
a
the other
wall.
one isn't.
You're gonna run a bunch of pipes up a wall. Okay, thank you very much.
The water go over the other one?
Right?
Did the water go into the other one?
Whew, probably.
You have to pull it up. If you put the
I forgot to put the curtain up.
I know, you brought that curtain, didn't you?
All right, let's do this again.
That's encouraging. Not all the signs of mental illness are coming through.
No, not the dental work.
Yeah, right.
I meant the dental work. The ground. It's gonna be late, it'll be midnight.
There is a lot of information. I printed a bunch of stuff at one point.
I'm not sure the law on what you must do because it changes. I know it's required to make a bathroom, a handicap bathroom, but whether we're forced to turn that into a, I can't give you that answer.
That's the question.
The Braintree, Mass, appropriately named is what they come up with.
I thought the selectmen could vote to waive zoning, especially on a historic building.
It's not necessarily zoning, is it?
I don't think
It would
it's
be
zoning.
law.
I think what,
State law.
yeah, it's state law.
It's federal.
And I'm not sure they can waive that. And I think what we went through with the church was, once you did X amount of dollars worth of work and you're kind of upgrading the building, which in many respects we are, then you have to comply with all of the ADA rules and regulations to make handicap bathrooms, to do other things as well. We could probably be exempt from things like a fire sprinkler system and all that.
There's a
But-
percentage that falls into the category
Yeah.
you're describing. I don't know what it is. It could be 30 or 36% or 50. I'm not sure. It changes all the time. It
Yeah.
used to be 50%. Which means
50% of what?
50% of the value of the construction project. In other words, if you're doing a rehabilitation for X number of dollars and you exceed 50, and it's 50% the value of the structure.
Not what you're doing, the value, so the building's worth $200,000.
Whatever. And if your renovations exceed 30% or whatever it is today, they move it around, so I can't tell you that. Because I'm not in doing that right in this moment in my life. Then if you exceed that value, then you must update the entire building to code.
Well, we're not obviously spending that much money. If
Well,
the
I don't know
30,000
why. Probably not. Doing this phase number one, you wouldn't be. I just did the numbers on that. Where did you come up with 34, just out of curiosity?
10 for heat, 10 for a bathroom, 6 for floor joists, and 5 for construction.
Well, oh, yeah. Well, I've got,
Your spreadsheet.
let's see, floor framing, I came up with 31060, based on these figures, probably gonna have to throw, if you're gonna move the heat for the building up front, you got 31060 without that,
How'd you get that number?
by using 6719 for excavation, because you are not gonna go do that floor under there without doing the excavation. Can't be done. It can be done if you can find little people 6 inches high. But if you can't find them, you got a problem. Then there's the foundation repair, that's 105,570. Then there's floor option B, which is 9223. And then there is floor insulation. Probably don't have to do that, I guess. You could probably knock 2,800 off that. Floor insulation. Okay.
What's not flooring option A then?
Huh?
You said flooring option B, is there an A?
Floor, yes, there is, but it's more expensive.
Okay.
So we went with floor option B.
I like that.
We get away from roof truss framing, then we have,
It's not apparently on the table at the moment.
so walls. The bath utility was 11,212.50. Added that, it comes to about $3,000, 2,900, 28 something. If I take off the 2850 for insulating the other side of the floor of the schoolhouse.
What's the final one?
So, 2850 from 3106 is roughly 28.2. So,
Yeah, but if you
But-
did 34, that would give you a little room to wiggle.
no, that doesn't have anything to do with the heating, moving the townhouse heat. You gotta move the townhouse heat from this you're gonna spend to put that bathroom in there, maybe less than that for the bathroom, okay? You're not buying,
I think with the bathroom, we also took out the Renai heater, because if we're moving into the front, we wouldn't need a Renai.
well, you're gonna, no, the Renai heater is, the one that's in here is a tankless hot water heater.
We wouldn't need that.
Where are you gonna get hot water?
Get hot water.
Where?
In the utility room, we heat it. They wouldn't cut the other customers.
How are you gonna get the hot water? We, you,
You're talking about water, I'm gonna heat it.
No, I just went through this with the guy I'm building a house for. He says, can I see my house from the sheetrock? And I don't care. He's already into 50 grand in screw-ups. Because I say, yeah, walk away, fine. And how much, I'll give you back a certain amount of my fee. What I gave back was 20 grand, he's blowing 50 in mistakes because he's not thinking things through. That's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to explain things. You already have a heat tank. The heat tank is way in the back where the utility room is. Now you've got to get hot water from the kitchen to the bathroom and you're not going underneath. It's a problem. You got to figure out how you're going to do all that stuff before you say, option A, and we can do this stuff. And if you don't, you're going to bang your head against it and spend a lot of money trying to figure it out later on. It just isn't like, oh, we'll just do anything you
Okay,
want.
what's the number here?
I can't give you a number yet. We've got to figure out what it's going to cost to make that bathroom work up front. You say we don't need a hot water heater, and I say that's fine if we got a hot water heater way in the back. That hot water heats the town water, the kitchen water. And those pipes come sailing up the wall on the far side. Now we're going to have to figure out where to move that hot water heater someplace else, probably up into the utility room. So the water that comes in from the tank and goes up the far side to the kitchen is going to have to be piped all the way down, around, and back up to the tank and somehow get across that doorway in the back of the
Well, considering that the schoolhouse, most likely, if we go with this option, we're gonna close the school off. The schoolhouse is gonna be closed off. It's gonna be cold. You can't have your hot water tank back there anymore anyway.
You're missing the point. If you put it in the utility room, you gotta get over to the kitchen with hot water. Now, that's fine, but you're gonna run a bunch of pipes over the front door as you walk in, and down the wall and into the kitchen. Okay.
Or we're gonna have to go into the walls.
Yeah.
That's-
Go into the walls. What do you mean into the wall?
Can you run by the walls?
No,
Why can't you run by the walls?
because you don't have any. You have exterior walls, you can't run through.
I'm thinking that wall from the where the bathroom's gonna be.
No, the reason they're not on the exterior wall
Yeah.
coming up that whole side is for the reason that they will freeze.
Right. Now, I was thinking about the bathroom wall.
This is my point. I think about this stuff all day. That's what I do.
So
I'm
we can
thinking
just
of
run
all
the pipes
pitfalls.
along the-
Option A.
So we would run them along on the outside of the wall to
Well,
get
they're
hot
gonna come through
water.
the wall, across the wall, over, down, and
Down
into the
inside,
kitchen.
yeah, inside the,
Understand that those
Inside the
are,
kitchen wall.
these are the things that we're gonna have to do if option A is chosen.
yep.
And I'm pointing these things out now so that we don't waltz into it later on and go, wait a minute, we didn't think of that.
Okay, no, this is why we're meeting tonight, because we want to be able
Now,
to
there's a hot
answer these
water heater,
questions.
where, is it a tank?
What?
Is it a tank? I don't even know, I forget.
Today's the thing.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Today's
it's
a
oil
40
frying or
gallon
whatever.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a tank that keeps water hot all the time. That,
No, we
No.
only turn it on when we use it.
When we use it.
oh, well, if you're gonna shut the building off, if that's what you're gonna do, you don't want a tank. You want a Renai heater. The $800 is worth it. It can't freeze and it supplies on-demand heat when you need it, all the time, for $800, not a lot of money. But I mean, those are the things everybody's gotta come up with. To make this an option, everybody should understand, those are the things you're gonna contend with, and I'm telling you, it's gonna be closer to 42,000.
Okay,
40,000, it's
all right,
not
that's not
gonna
an
be
issue,
34.
okay. All right, that's fine. So for the sake of argument, we're going to have to fine tune this. Let's just put 40, we know it can be different, higher, lower, that 40-ish. Can we put that in rough number?
Yes.
All right. That's what we need to know. Okay? Okay, you got B.
Now, what that looks like, we just summarize what A looked like. All utilities up front, new, well, it's changing now because of the cost. All the utilities up front, in the front closet, a cold building in the back, and no major modifications to that back today.
Except for the floor.
Well, with these numbers,
These numbers you.
we might have an 8 prime because all of a sudden the numbers got pretty high again.
You're using 10 for the heating system.
Yeah.
Have anybody given a quote, would that be using the existing ductwork?
No.
What kind of heat?
Where you were thinking space heating, propane, and ductwork coming out of the utility room up the front.
Underneath?
Don't know. If you look at the ducts today, they're behind the stage.
Yeah, I know.
So maybe they go in the wall in that back corner. Maybe there is no ductwork. Maybe there's a register up top and I don't know, a register on the bottom. I know we heat the building today from ducts behind the stage that are way up top.
Nothing comes up through the floor.
When we went down to look at that, it was stuffed with insulation. Confused the heck out of me. We took the plates off, and there's insulation down the ductwork. Now, I didn't get down to look, but I just looked down
Somebody
the
probably
wall.
stuffed that to stop drafts,
That-
but I'm sure that was meant to disseminate heat.
Originally, but they may have, I mean, I've got ductwork like that in my own house. It's got, you know, those ducts have been disconnected and there's insulation stuff.
That was done a few years ago, actually, on Ernie's watch.
You have many different types
I
of
didn't
heating
know
systems.
so why, I just looked
there are.
at-
This, it gets complicated. Like, to throw a furnace, it's not what it used to be, it's not a big thing like this. The LP heat system that you're gonna use is the size of a suitcase, or a little bit bigger. Then it's got a plenum and a blower, and it's just a different world out there, technologically, than it was 10 years ago.
Wait, that, they think, in fact, if we were to go this, whatever number we come up, with, how is it think?
What?
How is it vented out, the heat?
Through the
Yes.
wall, through the wall.
Are you willing to accept that as a historical building?
I think you're gonna need to go all the way to the other end with a duct too.
Venting, we're talking about venting the actual unit outside. What size pipe?
In the schoolhouse or in the townhouse?
Taps.
Front office on the side.
You're gonna do a direct vent type of heating
It
system?
would probably be a direct vent, so you direct the side of the building, that's what the most.
It's just 1, 2.
You're talking forced air. Forced air. Forced air, not hot water. Hot water requires registers of some kind. Forced air requires registers, but there are holes in the floor, which are already there, and ductwork in place.
We're talking about venting the exhaust.
So it's just direct vent right through the wall.
It is direct
And
vent.
they'll allow that. It's
This big.
Well, that's an issue for the heritage folks.
It's a this big thing. It goes out to the wall, and it's a stainless steel round majigger that draws.
It looks like a big dryer.
Well, it draws, yeah, it's round, it draws cold air in on the outside, cooling into, which is the exhaust.
It comes in white PVC also.
Oh, is that supposed to? Okay, I've always seen them like this.
So that is special.
Well, it's white.
Sorry.
We don't have to pay that part of it.
I'm just saying, whoever designs a heating system isn't gonna come in here and do what they've got over there and say, okay, we'll just shove one vent right here, and that'll take care of the whole townhouse. No.
Okay, all right.
I mean,
We're gonna have to have people.
I made it 42, I wouldn't make it 40.
All right, okay, we're gonna go with, all right.
They're gonna tell you you need 180,000 BTUs, and
Well, maybe more importantly, before we put a number there, we gotta get an HVAC guy, a plumber, in to give us a solid
That's
price.
what I said, we'll put this and we've got to get numbers.
We need at least, even if one guy gives us a solid price, we have a price.
can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
I would get Ron Last. He lives in Brookfield. Ron is a reasonable guy. He just did a house for me. He's an honest fellow. His price was more than reasonable. I've had people bid 50% higher than me. Because they want to make the Mercedes payment out of everything. Ron is a good guy to ask. He's HVAC expert. He's gas licensed. He's everything licensed. He can come in here and give you, tell you.
We all know a few guys, so we try to get at least one guy, if not two.
Well, he's a good guy to come up with a number. I mean, you can go up to bid later, but at least, well, you got somebody you know can do it for X.
All right, well, we're gonna do that.
All right, so we'll get somebody in here. B, now, B is basically, we're gonna demolish the schoolhouse, replace the schoolhouse with the self-described bump out. This would then house the heating system and our new bathrooms. Using what we have from rough estimates, or from the spreadsheet, we came up with an estimate of 46 grand. That would be, but I don't think that included the tear down cost, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it did.
I don't know, you hear bump out.
Yeah, it's just,
Go to bump out. Bump out has the demolition cost in it.
oh, it did, oh, I thought.
No, it's in there.
Okay, then good, then we're,
If you pick the number,
no,
bump out.
I think then that number's good, then I, sometimes I thought we missed that, I don't know why.
56, 376, I don't know where you got 46.
Okay, 56,
56, 376. 56.
56, okay?
Why are we 10 grand off?
Huh? I don't know, this are the figures I put together, I didn't. I don't
I'm
know.
just trying to go with 46 from the zero.
10 for the heating, 10 for the bathrooms.
We tried to lift it right off the spreadsheet. Because we got,
Yeah, the mid.
we tried to do that, and we got the wrong number.
That's all right, we'll fix it.
Okay. Now, the advantages to that is you leave, and another one is you leave the front or whatever. You end up with storage space and all that stuff. All right. Any questions on that one?
Does that include the new furnace?
Yes.
Yes.
It does.
It does not include the new furnace for the townhouse. It includes heat for the schoolhouse.
Oh, I assumed it was the,
How do we take that down? We're gonna take it down and put the old one back?
Let's go back over here.
I assumed it,
I did too.
Oh, yeah, well, you're gonna use the old existing furnace.
We are?
Well, you don't have to. I'm not telling you what to
All right.
do. I'm just the guy putting the prices on paper for you.
What's in the price? Fair enough.
Let me tell you what, we just picked a $10,000 figure roughly for a heating system. If you're gonna, we already know you're replacing the schoolhouse heat, and that is, let's see,
good, this is what we want, exactly what we're here.
gas, utilities, thank you very much for that. I'll try not to break down here.
I'm uncomfortable. You guys look uncomfortable.
Just don't rush out here.
I'm just thinking about if I can get to beds.
The big guys.
Oh, who cares, man? No. No, that's what
I don't know.
Now we have a long enough, we're not the one that we put a new number in. Right?
Until we have 10,000 for the, well, the bathroom is 61.
I mean, just because you're building a new building doesn't mean you throw the furnace out.
No, we're gonna replace, we're going through this, we're putting a new furnace. We're not gonna go through this with the old furnace. We're gonna go through all this, it's being replaced.
So you're gonna buy a $10,000 gut, and I think that will probably do it just fine. So, it's not in here, I never put the furnace in.
So it's
66.
66.
No.
66.
66.
It was 56 without furnace, 10 with joint for a furnace, that'd be 66.
You know what I would write that, that's number B we're on?
Yeah.
I would put demolish replace schoolhouse with small addition to house, restroom,
One restroom.
and
One handicap.
new,
Doing that, it's gonna be handicap, which,
to house furnace and heating system for entire building. Put that in there. So people understand they're getting that.
the schoolhouse won't be there, it'll be really
There's only one building left. This proposal says take it down.
I understand, but
There's only one thing you can heat, and that's the front.
I understand, but you're asking everybody to figure that all out after we've talked about it for months. And you're giving this to people, and they're not, you know what I mean?
No, that's, we only have 10,000 for heat because the back's not gonna have any.
So did we change this to 66,000?
I'm not convinced that's where we are.
That's what I was.
Read it again, Brian.
Demolish replace schoolhouse with small addition to, I'm sorry. To demolish and replace schoolhouse with small addition to house restroom and furnace for entire building, 66 grand.
How does it say final result, gain storage space? Determine the building, yeah, how are we gaining storage space?
That little spot has that storage. The bulk out will have storage,
Yeah, we have storage.
and that's a big,
But I see what Eddie's, Ed is saying, it's not gaining your, giving it back, or, we're not gaining it, it's,
You're gonna have less than if you refurbish
Yeah,
it.
it just doesn't make sense to have it.
you have storage space.
all right, so that word gain will be worked, we need to, utilize portion of storage on that. Is that what you're gonna have, Ed?
That's what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mentioned.
We all set on that? New numbers, and we got, okay, C. All right,
Tonight, again, 68 grand,
go ahead.
are you gonna put the furnace in for the townhouse?
Well, we've eliminated the other buildings, so it has to be.
No, we're
No,
talking
no,
C.
refurbish
Oh, for
the
C.
schoolhouse with.
Oh, for C, I'm sorry. My
Are we gonna
apologies.
replace the furnace
Yes,
for the townhouse?
Mhm.
Yes.
Then that needs to be 78,000, and we should explain, we'll replace furnace for townhouse.
was under the assumption when we were getting ideas how much this would cost, 10,000 was going to cover what we have currently. But Ron last will be able to answer that
Well, you're gonna get Ron down here, and he'll give you a quote.
question. Okay, 70, you're saying 78?
You're throwing 10 on top of the 68, right?
Yeah, anyway, if you're gonna replace the heating system for the townhouse, and it is a part of option C, I didn't have that into the pricing here, because we weren't gonna touch that, because the townhouse was never part of the scenario of refurbishing the schoolhouse. I got rid of the townhouse heater, because the ductwork's are trash anyway, and we put a Renai in the back of this schoolhouse.
All right, let's go back over. Refurbish the existing structure. Address structural, windows, electrical, restroom, and installation issues. Final result, renovated structure similar to what we have today by reusing existing structure.
Can we add to that we, if this option C is the one selected, we anticipate doing the project over 2 years?
And yeah, multi-year project.
I would
Station,
also,
it'd be done in stages.
If we have it down there underneath the entire,
I would also write includes new heating system for townhouse at 78. That's not specified there.
My thought was that we were putting the new heating system covered the townhouse, and the back room was gonna have the Renai.
Yes. But I have the Renai figured in here in refurbishing the schoolhouse. That's in here. But I never put anything, you can read that's why I use these crazy old Excel pages.
So go ahead.
Because there's no category here for the townhouse heating system.
I thought that was the 10,000, and
Yeah,
there were
well,
nine.
yeah, for when you get up to 78.
Yeah, to get to
Okay.
78, we're throwing.
Okay.
But you need to put
New.
that in
Okay.
All right, so we'll
verbiage
do
for number C.
with new
So
furnace,
people
floor
understand
tiles.
what they're getting for that money.
I got you. I just,
And I agree with Harriet, I think it's got to be spelled out about this would be a multi-year project or something like that. So they know it's spread over a couple of years. It would be done in stages, multi-year, multi-stage, what word would you like to say, multi-stage?
And by putting Gary's wording in there, it makes it clear that all of this money is not going to be spent on the schoolhouse, simply goes to the town.
Yes, for the heating system on the townhouse.
well, a multi-stage, but if we're gonna do this, if we rip this, let's say we rip the schoolhouse down, we have no option, we've gotta build the bump out right then and there, we've gotta put a new
No,
furnace.
no,
I'm
this is a
talking about
brand
a
new-
multi-year program for option C.
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 That's where we
Just
are.
C.
Oh, only on C,
Yeah,
okay.
That's
I
what
mean,
we are.
I don't know where you're gonna get the rest of the money for option B, because you're gonna get $47,000, but,
Mm.
option C would be a 2-year project, and then we would have an impact on the tax rate for the second year, but we don't have to talk about that right now.
Okay.
But that's a good point. Anything above what we have to spend becomes a multi-year project by definition, because we don't have money.
So B is gonna be a multi-year project.
Has to be, we don't have money. Right?
That's gonna be interesting.
But I just don't know
because-
how we could feasibly do it. Once that schoolhouse goes down, you have no option but to get your heat.
That says we do nothing this year, we get additional money at
All
town
right, so
meeting.
that's not a multi-year project, that's
Saving up for what you.
that's saving up.
Well,
That's
you
right.
would have to, if you're gonna do option B, oh no, I'm sorry.
And you're gonna have to raise the 15 again, because that's,
You're gonna have, if you have a small addition for the restrooms and the heating system, instead of the schoolhouse, you've gotta do that all in 1 year. 'cause
You gotta
don't
do it
have
one
a
shot, that's
bathroom.
why I'm saying, that's not a multi-stage,
No,
that's,
You can't do
that's-
that in 2 years.
let's bank the money, then try to get the rest in the next year or two.
2014 project.
At best, yeah.
If we get money for the town meeting.
and you're gonna have to get extra money because you spent you've lost the 15, because let's face it, you're gonna end up lowering the taxes.
Yep.
Unless you can pre-spend it
Doing something.
by a contract or something like that, pre-expended
I
money.
think you can do that, by the way. I think you commit, and then it comes effectively off the books. If you commit, we use it.
Okay, so we're done with C? Well, done with these,
You got 78 grand in there,
that's why they're written down now, yeah.
and you have the wording includes heat for the
Yep.
townhouse? Good.
Yep, I'll get all that typed up pretty, I'm just jotting notes here. All right, so D is then demolish schoolhouse, replace the entire new structure, and
Does that include heat for the project?
No, I was asked to treat the townhouse as an entity on it, it's all not include the townhouse.
Oh, so your rationale was we heat it with Renai?
No.
No,
You-
no,
you
no.
don't, first of all, if you demolish the schoolhouse, you're gonna put that heater right back in there.
No, I'm talking about, how would you heat the schoolhouse?
Well, we're not.
That's what I meant.
We're
Yeah.
talking about the heat for the townhouse.
Yes.
Are we gonna include that? I don't have that in there. If you go to.
What do you have the price for the entire new structure, that, and I understand it doesn't include a new furnace?
For the new structure, I don't know, it's right in here, I have to look. I don't know what you guys put down.
So add the 10.
New structure.
So we're off by 10 because we assumed
I got
some
mine.
things we shouldn't assume.
I will also point out, you once
New
again,
building, existing
if you
foundation.
demolish the schoolhouse, if you pick option D, you have to demolish, well, maybe not, but if you're gonna build the new structure where the schoolhouse is, that's gotta be a 1-year project, once again.
That would be another save.
I've got $113,000.
Yeah, we got 123, so.
Yeah, basically. We were just talking, yeah.
See, that's why, I don't know why our previous was wrong, is we were all, every time we did a figure, I thought we did, we threw an extra 10 out for the new heating system. That's why I'm totally, mixed on how we blew that, but, okay. So 123 grand would be a whole new place,
Now, let me see something here.
A new heating system.
and new
for-
heating
Let
system.
me tell you what okay, here's what we did. Okay, understand that there's a new foundation here, 724175. And if you look, I explained this at one of the meetings. I have foundation work, $1,200 to replace top tubes, courses of concrete masonry units, because very good possibility that it's gonna be damaged during the demolition. Now, if the walls are completely damaged, the footings are fine, there's nothing wrong. They haven't moved in 60, 70 years, they're not gonna move. It's just a testament to their quality. But the block could come crashing down when they demolish, and may. If that happens, then you can put a ICF concrete foundation on top of it for $72.41 minus the $1,200 I fixed in case they don't knock it
So
down.
it'd be $6,000 variance upwards.
Yeah, $6,000. So add to 113, I explained that, add the 6,000 to 113, that's 119.
So we could go as high as 129, 130.
Yeah, and then you cover the heating system into the top.
All right, so that's a possibility, but right now, let's say, do we want to put in the $6,000 as, all right, I say we throw 130 as the number down.
Yeah, don't keep
You
going
know,
up.
don't go best case that the wall lives.
Yeah.
And really, what you're talking about is a giant great room.
Oh, I get
Not
it.
that costly, but a great room. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not like, if you're building a new building, somebody wants a 38 by 20 foot addition, it's more than money to cover it.
All right, so we have our homework to do, because in that extra time that we booked into this thing for August, it might be necessary after all, because by the time we get some HVAC and bathroom guys in here, we might need that extra week or two.
And we clearly have to understand what are in the numbers.
Yeah,
So
correct.
when someone says to us what's in it, we can say
Absolutely.
what's in it. We just can't say we think, we gotta know. So that was a good dry run tonight.
Yeah.
To understand what are in our numbers.
Well, you have the.
Well, we thought we had the numbers pulled from you, we didn't realize some of the things which you brought to our attention, which is great.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
why
no,
we're
it's
meeting
fine.
here.
If you didn't write this stuff down,
Okay.
I don't even have to go look at it.
All right,
Okay.
what do we need to go from here? You're gonna work just on the envelopes.
I can at least do the envelopes.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is,
We're looking,
That's a big.
Ron last.
Just make a little pile and put them to the side.
Would you like me to have Ron come down here? I'll see him in the morning.
See you in the morning, sure.
He's finishing up.
No, we've already had him in one, so
Yeah, I know, he mentioned that, yeah.
so he's coming.
I'll just tell him to come back down.
Sure,
Meet
we
you
want to see
guys.
him, right. We just meet one of us, whoever he gets.
you know, this here.
I just want to be there to outline what he needs, what,
All right, yep, Ron should come back.
I won't be around until tomorrow afternoon.
Okay.
If you can do it in the morning, we can do it.
Oh, Ron might be a busy guy, just ask him to drop
I'm
everything.
just saying, I'm not gonna be around in the morning.
All right, we can catch it. Plumbing issues. What do we want to try?
Does Ron do plumbing, most H?
yeah.
Okay, so I thought Ron did it all,
All
right?
right, good.
So we can have Ron and who's the guy, we had Dave coming for the other things. We have two guys look at it and give us two different opinions and
And different ideas.
some different ideas. That's what I mean by opinions, you know, so what, hey, I would do this instead. He gives us options.
Heritage Commission. Express your concerns for the people in Iceland who are watching us.
So I guess my concerns are, I really don't like the way this is laid out as far as, I'm sorry, as far as the options are concerned. Because I think that all people are gonna look at are the numbers first. I really don't like option A at all, as far as I'm concerned, but that's me personally, and I think from a heritage point of view. I'm also going to call the Preservation Alliance and find out about venting to the outside of the townhouse and get some questions answered.
Okay.
Can I just ask you to elaborate why you don't like A? Like, there's a reason why you don't like A, but why?
It doesn't really give you the handicapped bathroom, and I don't think it's a good use of the building. I think that we have storage in there now. I think we would be better served putting possibly, why would we only have one little old bathroom again, when this is our chance to do a handicapped bathroom
Complete with a shower.
complete with a shower, and also have possibly another bathroom.
No, a little bit. If we do that in the existing schoolhouse, that schoolhouse room becomes much smaller.
It becomes smaller. I get that it becomes smaller.
Okay, because we have to push that wall out.
Yes.
into the room.
And to play devil's advocate, the schoolhouse is a major drain heat-wise. Without a doubt, that thing is not insulated, it's old. If we were to close that off, make that a cold building, if we to heat the townhouse in order to keep the plaster safe, we're cutting our heating costs dramatically, because now we're not having the schoolhouse draining heat out. That was one of our thoughts when we were considering the overall schoolhouse. And then with the schoolhouse, one thing goes, then we need, if we do the floor, now what about the roof? What about this? So it was like a compounding thing that we were saying, well, if we move everything up, it at least saves the schoolhouse. And then we can then work on it in stages a lot slower, but yet not really.
So then this isn't realistic because this isn't going to be your final project.
Oh,
Oh, no, God, no. We realistically, we see the schoolhouse as a longer-term project. A project that is,
But you're not saying that
Right,
here.
it's
Good
not
point,
clear.
good point, good point, I
Wouldn't it
agree.
make much more sense, this A, because I don't get the moving the thing up front at all, because you're gonna spend a lot of money to do that. When, if you're gonna fix the schoolhouse floor as part of this project, inherent in that is that sooner or later you're gonna fix the roof and the walls and insulate things, sooner or later. But why bother fixing the floor? Just leave it alone if you're gonna shut it off. I mean, there's 15, 16 grand. That's what it amounts to. So if you're gonna fix it later, why spend 34 grand moving all this stuff up to the front? If you're gonna fix the floor, now it's structurally sound and safe. Heat the bathroom with a small Renai, they make very small ones, we've got in all these offices here. Insulate under the floor of the bathroom, insulate the walls of the bathroom, and leave your bathroom back there. And whether you expand it or not now into a handicap bathroom, if you're gonna put money in it, why not put it back there where it can stay if you're gonna fix the floor?
Well, that's why the whole thing started out with the premise, what we do with the schoolhouse. Everything hinges on that.
Well,
We can't do
why
anything
put-
without deciding that.
Why put the floor in here at all? You're gonna move everything up front. Unless-
Because we thought over time, and that's Mary Lou's point, because we didn't say this, over time, we could continue to work on the schoolhouse and not have an immediate impact.
and it also allows that handicap access to continue to be used safely.
So why not leave the bathroom back there and just insulate it and heat it? You're good to go.
Because we have pipes running down the wall to the kitchen. We have to continue to heat the townhouse. That was our logic.
Oh, you don't wanna continue to heat the townhouse.
$4,000 a year.
But if you put the bathroom up front, you're in the same boat.
But if it's an insulated room,
But you still got the water coming from way in the back to the front.
well, I
I think this A is so illogical the way it's being approached that it's gonna wind up costing the town more money.
the water gets to the townhouse today, underground. Yes? Can it go underground to the front?
Well, yeah, you gotta go outside and dig a 5-foot hole, go underneath
All
the
right, so-
foundation.
but the answer is- but the
You're gonna
answer-
spend 10 grand.
All right.
You're still gonna spend ridiculous money on something to circumvent something and save a couple of bucks here. Why not put the bathroom in the back? It will be minimally expensive to even expand that bathroom with a few 2x4 walls, insulate them, and heat the bathroom.
All right, so from your perspective, we either do fix the back or we do the one back.
No, you can just do the schoolhouse floor, what you're talking about in section A, and then rehab do whatever you want to the bathroom.
Bump out is still an option.
You don't have to do the bump out.
No, but it's still an option.
You're
for
doing the
the-
whole schoolhouse floor, why do a
No,
bump
no,
out?
no, no. Maybe that should be an option the voters are given,
Okay.
or the people doing the survey,
Well,
that that's an option you have. It's an option.
Well, right, if bump out is what they choose and A is moved, and it doesn't matter.
So I guess the other thing that I don't see
But if
here.
they choose A,
All
you're
right,
doing
we-
this in a screwy way, it's gonna
All
cost
right.
us way more money ultimately.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I guess the other thing I don't see is that I don't think the townspeople are given the option, the clear options of what do we do with that schoolhouse? Do we fix it? Do we move it? Do we destroy, do we, thank you, wasn't coming. Do we demolish it? I don't see those options. I think this is a little muddy as far as what we're doing with the schoolhouse. You know, as somebody, if you're just looking at the numbers, you might say, okay, well, we're doing the structural repairs to the schoolhouse, so that's good, we're repairing the schoolhouse. And I don't think people will understand what does refurbish mean to you guys? Does refurbish mean all new? Do I want that? Do I not? I just don't think it's, I don't think the four options are, or the options to the town are clear. Does that make sense?
We've eliminated moving the schoolhouse to another location because we can then face all those financials. We gotta put the heat, we take
Yep.
care of the front of the building, we gotta do all those things. Then you have the expense of moving it, you got the expense of a new foundation, you got all, and you gotta fix it and everything else. It just seems that's not a logical step that people would like. Speaking for myself, will people invest fixing the back and it's a museum? I don't think people will spend the money to do that. If they fix it up, that it could serve two purposes.
Yes.
Speaking for myself only, it could be house some of the, the things that people want to see, but also to be used as a modern facility on the inside with new heating, windows and all that.
I think
That's
A
fine.
should be altered, though.
Well, we'll have
And
to,
see, the
I
logic,
think it should be,
the logic behind A was, don't make any of the real tough decisions about taking it down or putting a lot of money into the schoolhouse. Solve our problems with the utilities and move forward with renovations to the schoolhouse as our budget allows us.
but you're not doing it in a logical fashion.
I agree with that. It doesn't say that. It's not clear to, when you read this, that's not clear.
Right.
I think option A should read, fix the schoolhouse, structural schoolhouse floor, and refurbish the bathroom and heat it back there. Way less expensive than 30.
all right, well, that's something that the people are going to have to decide.
Well,
That's
if you
it.
don't offer it to them in an option, they're not gonna pick that option.
So you want an additional option. I thought the bump out took care of that, but
Yeah, but the bump out assumes demolishing the schoolhouse, and
Yeah.
we're saying,
That's correct.
we don't want to do that.
all right, so we,
But as far as, Mary Lou said, she understands that if you expand that room in the front of the schoolhouse, where the heating system is now, if you expand that to be the bathroom and the heating system, which somebody at some point said they we could do, and insulate it, like Jerry says, haven't we resolved both of those
right,
problems?
yep, no, it's a good point.
And that's not an
That was-
option, was it?
But the only thing we didn't resolve is the water to the kitchen. We're still heating the big room
All comes back to doing
Unless you
data.
drain it.
unless we drain it.
Well, you're still gonna be doing that anyway.
And we can drain it.
I mean, you're gonna have to drain it one way or the other if you don't wanna heat it. I mean, the pipes, the water's gonna have to go to the kitchen.
I'm assuming that draining is not a gigantic expense.
If someone said $200, but we save that in oil quick.
Okay.
If we're not heating it.
I just think the bathroom should stay back there.
All right,
You're gonna fix the
we
floor.
understand that, okay.
Make
We're
an
going to
option.
add in one additional.
All right,
And I wouldn't put any money into getting that other bathroom functional again, because we know that we have a plan to build, to do something with the bathroom. If we move it to the front of the building, which I'm not sure we can do under this historic thing,
Okay,
or if we put it in that room and include a shower and all of that, either way, we've got a little bathroom that's working, as far as I know. So I don't think I'd put any more money in the other little bathroom.
no,
So,
I think you're under
Brian,
20
could it
grand.
be A and a half? So you're not going,
Where's it coming from? Where are those mosquitoes?
We need to find
How much for a screen door?
Maybe
$200.
You're under 20 grand if you don't do the stuff up front.
Um,
Is there any way to put a small Renai up in the kitchen without historically doing something?
yeah, but it's
So
the
we don't have
water
to worry
pipes
about-
that go along the wall.
I'm saying you put a small undersink, don't
They
have a
let us
small
know about that
undersink
too.
Renai
Can't you get,
For what purpose?
for the
to
kitchen.
heat the water for the kitchen? Because
Well, no, but the water comes up the wall.
I know, I'm
no,
saying.
but what we're saying is a
go
little
there.
tank under the sink.
So they get water.
You're
just gotta get water
Hot
too.
water tank.
Still gotta get a
Well,
water.
it's no, the water that comes to the kitchen,
So the water in
I
general.
was just gonna say,
the water in general.
Could it be A&a-half?
no, I think A&M's not a good idea, but I think.
Well, I mean,
But what I think is
I like A&a half. I think that's good.
I was gonna say, I was gonna move E under A.
Yes.
Or above A, whatever, so there's a flow to it.
yes, so that, yes, thank you.
You-
I just didn't want it at the
Yeah,
bottom,
but yeah.
so you read all the way through the bottom and then
Well,
you're going.
and I think numerically, it's gonna probably end up being either, it'll probably end up being cheaper or very similar cost to A, so it'll be in that general area anyway, so,
What?
That'd be good.
so, E.
E, what's E gonna contain?
E's refurbished bathroom, heats, change heating system, insulate in the back area.
What,
Back in the schoolhouse, all the work to be done.
What you were saying.
Like what you said.
what I was saying,
It's like
it
that.
was not that. What I was saying was to fix the structural part of the floor, which is the
We agree,
ground.
yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's.
And then go back there and don't make the bathroom in the sky that we're talking about, the handicap bathroom now. Get this bathroom functional on a small basis, put a small heater in it. You don't have to have the shower in there this year.
Like I said, refurbish the bathroom.
Yeah, but but we're talking about insulating all the walls and
No, I
stuff.
just said insulate on, you said insulate under the floor.
That's it.
All right.
Okay. But
Now,
when
we
you
may
said
wanna
it's gonna
go-
be same vicinity as 34,000, I'm telling you to do that bathroom, it cost you $5,000.
But with the heating system insulate, I don't know what it's gonna be, Gary. I don't say it's gonna be.
I'm telling you, $5,000 plus the floor.
All right, time, we're gonna be done in 10 minutes, one way or the other.
So don't give me that.
No, the bathroom we already.
All right. We can disagree, wait a minute, we're gonna go to Rose a minute. We can disagree whether we need to put a handicap, we're gonna go through that. We'll put a handicap bathroom, we need it all in one shot.
You can do that later.
We can do it now, too, we have the money. Rose, jump in.
Please.
What I've been hearing out of this discussion is that we're putting out a survey asking people what they want to do with the schoolhouse, but some of these options say, we'll decide what to do with the schoolhouse later on. Are we going to be doing this again in 2 years?
Oh, God. Bite your tongue.
Well, unless we list it as stages. Stage 1,
Yep.
to be completed for the sake of argument this year. Stage 2, and this is paid for, stage 1, we're going to assume, depending on the numbers come up. Stage
Yeah.
2,
It just
Three.
feels like options A and A&a-half or whatever are saying minimal work to the schoolhouse, we'll decide it later, but we're just saying this is a schoolhouse survey.
Yeah.
Can I give you the bad news?
uh,
This is very confusing.
You think?
well, don't insult us, we worked on that,
I'm just
thanks so
saying, it's
much.
confusing. As it is now, it's very confusing.
Okay.
Well, one of the problems is when you minimalize stuff, data gets lost. And to put too much data in, people aren't going to either, one, read it, or two, digest it, or three, understand it, or a combination thereof. So we try to minimize it, so I hate to use the word, we dumbed it down, so when people look at it, oh, okay, if we try to put more in, it became this monstrosity. If we put in less, it becomes kind of like, oh, what the
Well,
hell
that's
are you
why there has
saying?
to be a proper balance, so it's,
And the balance is, it's tough to gain without getting into 2-3 pages. Because you should have seen what we had earlier, it was this with the small type, and it gets out of control
how many
real
more
quick.
meetings do we have?
Looks like we got a few.
I was gonna say, this ain't over yet.
I mean, it's a good start.
Can I
I'm saying
say,
it's
so
a start.
the schoolhouse floor is so that you got handicap access. That's why you got the structural business for the schoolhouse
That was
floor?
part of the reason.
Well, because you really don't, because that door in the back isn't wide enough, but nonetheless, you don't have to fix the floor if you're gonna rip the schoolhouse down. If you're putting all these utilities up front, then you don't need the schoolhouse anymore at all.
We added that, we would agree with you on that, but we added that on, let's say to buy time, so that, if somebody don't want to make the decision now to,
You added a bathroom up front to buy time?
No.
That gave the town the opportunity, no, let me put it differently. If we don't do that, the decisions are take it down or renovate it. And we wanted to give them another opportunity to say, don't take it down, we can deal with it in the future. So by moving this stuff up front, the town wasn't forced to say, take it down, how much?
They're not if you leave it back there and you save 15 grand.
Or take it down.
You don't have to take it, well, then move it up to the front later, you know. I gotta call you.
All right, okay, we gotta close this down.
Yeah, right.
You're fixing the floor.
That's it, we're gonna close it down. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and I appreciate everybody's input, because we need to do more homework. We'll do it,
Good luck.
and thank you. We appreciate your input. Sorry, we're never gonna make everybody happy on this, we're gonna do the very best we can, and we're not gonna be able to make everybody happy, I think that's impossible. We are gonna meet as selectmen next, and obviously be open to the public, and then we'll redo our things. If you wanna make suggestions, email it to us, and we can go over them. You know, you wanna say, hey, let me work on this form, come up with what you need, we can.
So we're not meeting as a committee again? Is that what you're saying?
We don't have a date yet.
We don't have a date, do we want to meet as a committee or just work as selectmen first? Will we say the step by meeting as a committee?
Can I just propose this? Let's get some of the plumbing in HVAC estimates done and back from these guys, and then I think then we'll be in a better position then to move
Oh, yeah.
forward and continue to hammer this out.
Do you want me to call Dave back in?
Yes.
What's Dave do?
A check for me.
Plumbing and
I
HVAC.
have no
Oh, everything.
schemes. I'm asking
He's in
for
Wake,
2
right
rolls.
on 150
Okay, good.
Wakefield.
Oh, absolutely, we should have that done.
What's his last name?
Take us.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay?
We're doing a long time.
All right. Pushing it down.
That's good? All right, when are we going to meet again? Let's meet as a big happy group. Kumbaya. Pick a date.
No, there isn't another meeting.
Tomorrow?
Oh, God, no.
You want
I
to
gotta
go
get numbers.
We need data, don't we?
I'll be here with you.
What do you think we're meeting for?
Are we just needing to continue to work on this survey in the letter? Or?
I think the letter's pretty set.
The letter's good.
I thought the letter's fine too, but I never know.
All right, at the moment, it's good anyway.
No,
So we've settled the letter, we're now down to fine tuning this and making some, listening to what Gary has to say, and everybody else's input.
The options have to be more clear.
Okay.
We've seen this over and over again. If you brought somebody in here that never saw this before, that would be a good test.
But as Brian said, it can get overwhelming, confusing, listing every
Part of
date.
that, the informational meeting is supposed to help take care of it,
Right.
but true.
That's what we really hoped, but you probably know as well as I that we'll probably see the same faces at the informational meeting that we see at the regular meeting. So.
Okay.
But yeah, trust me, that was one of these things, we were doing that balancing act, and it was like, it got heavy, and then we try to lighten up.
We have a regular selectmen's meeting next Tuesday.
And then we have to start talking vacations, but the machine's going.
So why don't by Tuesday come up with possible dates that the selectmen can meet
As a group,
as a group?
might be in September.
What did you say?
Might be in
Oh, I
September.
think you can't do September.
No, might be.
Can't be adjourned.
How about Monday the 22nd?
Yeah, so I'm just saying, we can adjourn, and I'll tell you, we can be specific and work that out.
Can we do Monday the 22nd?
Hold on, wait a minute, we're gonna adjourn
We're
the,
going to adjourn.
So
Oh,
the
excuse
people,
me,
so the
sorry.
people in Iceland don't see.
I'm stealing my pugs.